Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Aelquilibra deck profile for November 2024. This is the Destined 1 of Scales, the Dragon Empire Destined 1 deck, and the final one that we have left to do on the channel until set 5 gives us the Destined 1 of Time for the Dark States deck. This deck focuses on the overcharge ability when your rearguard units are chosen for an ability by your Vanguard. Overcharge activates, being able to use that ability for initial power plays that you can do with the deck, and then the powerful divine skill being able to deal a damage to your opponent's Vanguard. A very Dragon Empire-like ability, which works very, very well for the deck. So big thanks to my buddy Nick for letting me borrow the Aelquilibra deck for the video. And as always, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck. For the ride deck, we have the energy generator with our starter being our Gilrael Dragon. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Rakenwerfer Dragon. When it's rode upon by Gatling Cannon Dragon, you may call this card rearguard. If you called a card, soul charge 1. And also, with this unit having that option for our grade 2, we have Gatling Cannon Dragon. When it's rode upon by a grade 3 with Aelquilibra and its card name, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. If you revealed a card with the overcharge ability, soul charge 1, building up more and more soul for you to be able to then use with our Vanguard, which is the Destined 1 of Scales, Aelquilibra, along with the copy we run in the ride deck. We also run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. On the Vanguard circle, once per turn, you can Soul Blast 2, choose 3 of your rear guards, and they get plus 5,000 to end of turn. If you chose 2 or more rear guards with the overcharge ability, draw a card, and this unit gets plus 10 till end of turn. So you want to just have as much of a power choose that you can with this deck, because then you'll have the additional draw with your overcharge ability. So the more rear guards you have with overcharge, the better to run in this deck. And then also with Divine Skill on the Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counter plus 1, choose 2 of your rear guards, they get plus 5 till end of turn. If your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less cards, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, deal 1 damage to it, and the power increase of the trigger effects revealed for this effect actually gives it the minus 10 power, so it will reverse the abilities of the trigger, so it doesn't actually stop the actual trigger itself, it's just meant to stop the actual power that you would give from the trigger, taking away that minus 10,000. So very, very useful for that overall power from this grade 3. And then for added backup power to our grade 3 Vanguard, we run 4 copies of Panzerschreck Dragon. With the overcharge ability on rearguard, when this unit attacks, if this unit was chosen by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Aelquilibra and its card name, this unit gets until end of turn. With this card, Energy Blast 3, and this unit gets plus 15 until end of battle. And at the end of the battle, draw a card and retire this unit. So it makes up for a, basically what the overcharge ability is meant to do, a big power boost for this unit. In turn, we're the use of the Energy Blast ability, and then making up for the retire of this unit by giving us a draw in hand. For the grade 2s, we're running 4 copies of our Dragritter Shallhub. With this card on the rear guard during your turn, if you have 3 or more units with the overcharge ability, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. It also has overcharge itself. On rear guard, once per turn, when your Vanguard attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if this unit was chosen by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Aelquilibra and its card name, and this card, this turn, Energy Blast 3, stand this unit, and it gets plus 10 until end of turn. So more of the multiple attack option for the deck, being able to restand this grade 2 once per turn, and then have the option to have an additional plus 10 power for having the unit chosen by the overcharge ability. Lastly, for the grade 2s, 2 copies of Dragritter Falheart, just for more of a discard option early game. You can either use your Counter Blast or your Energy Blast with this card to be able to give you a draw. And when it's placed on rearguard, if you Persona Road this turn, Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3, choose a grade 1 card without Sentinel from your drop and call it to the back row rearguard. Being able to set up some of our other overcharged grade 1s as well with this unit is a big help, but most of the time we're just going to use it for the discard for the ride deck cost to keep more hand consistency with cards that you draw into. For the grade 1s, 4 copies of Dragritter Edel. When this unit's placed on rearguard, if you have 2 or more units with the overcharge ability, counterblast 1, draw a card, and soul charge 1, giving you more soul because you definitely need to use a lot of it with Aelquilibra. And with overcharge on the rearguard, if this unit was chosen by the ability of your Great Third Vanguard with Aelquilibra, its card name this turn, it gets plus 10,000 power, so making it an ideal booster, or even just a attacker on its own if need be. But most of the time, just with the big columns you want to hit with your Aelquilibra, you can use this as an additional power boost multiple times on the rearguard circles for your rearguards in the front rows that also will have bigger numbers themselves. We are also running the 4 copies of Dragritter Feraliza. With overcharge, when this unit boosts, if this unit was chosen by the ability of your Great Third Vanguard with Aelquilibra on its card name this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 to the end of that battle. At the end of the battle, if you did not countercharge this turn, retire this unit and countercharge 1. So once again, making use of the fact that you will fully invest in your unit's power for the overcharge ability. So using Feraliza for the countercharge option with the retire comes in handy, but also the plus 10 makes it for a formidable booster against your opponent also. We also run 3 additional copies of our Rackentwerfer Dragon, just because it does have overcharge itself as well. And if it was chosen by the ability of your Great Third Vanguard with Aelquilibra on its card name, it gets plus 10,000, making it just another potential booster for the attacker when it was chosen by Aelquilibra. So you can have more and more consistency, since we don't have too many different varieties for the overcharge units this much so far with set 4. We'll get more in set 5, but until then we just have to make do with what we have so far. 1 copy of the Stealth Fiend Shenri. When this unit boosts, if your opponent has 1 or less rearguards, you play an order this turn, it gets plus 5,000 to the end of that battle. At the end of the battle, put it into the soul and draw a card, giving you more soul power for Aelquilibra. But we do run some orders in the deck as well, which we'll get to in just a bit. But for the Sentinel lineup, my buddy Nick just ran a mashup of different Sentinels. If there's a specific one you want to run, you can just run the numbers there for the good number of them, with our order that we run in the deck being to equilibralize the scales of the world. You play this card with the counterblast 1 if you have a Vanguard with Aelquilibra and its card name. Choose up to 2 grade 3 or less cards with different card names and overcharge ability from your drop and call them to rearguard. I would say this is essential in the deck. You just make use of so many rearguards that will retire at the end of the turn, so having an order to be able to call them back onto the rearguard circles is a definite plus, and makes use of the counterblasts that really don't do much else aside from the Falhab and then some of the other cards in the deck as well. But our Vanguard's main focus is soul blasting in the deck. And then the 1 copy of Defensive Roar, just as a recycle blitz order to use, adding back cards that we use to guard with thanks to it. For the trigger lineup, going 8 critical for the pressure that we can provide with the damage that our Vanguard can inflict to our opponent, with the next trigger of choice being the 3 draws, just more consistency. We have the restand power as well, but still like the hand consistency we can get with this. And then for the heals, the 1 copy of Cure Flare Draco Kid, and then the generics that you wish to run as well, with our over trigger being Dragveda for the restand power that this card can provide to multiple of the different Dragon Empire decks. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. We have finished all of the Destin 1 deck profiles from the Destin Showdown booster set, so very, very happy. We'll wait for the newer support from set 5 before we decide which ones we want to update. Definitely will be doing Levidros just with the new Destin King card that we'll be receiving, but all the Destin 1 decks will be getting more support from that set as well, so look forward to it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.